Hi, so you made it to Unit 1 Activity 1, so what do we do from here? I want to walk you through kind of slowly, and I'm going to talk quickly so you can rewind if you need to, but I'm going to try and walk through what I would do if I was a student, okay? So I'm logged in as my student account, Loyola Chris, and each activity is going to have a learning goal, so I know what to expect from that activity. Often there'll be a little quote in there because it's nice. It's going to talk about a reader, and I'm going to try not to have too much text in here, okay? But it talks about you're reading all kinds of different things, whether it's magazines or manuals or blogs or signs or video games or symbols, numbers, instructions, internet, texting, all over the place. Alright, sometimes it's you just have to do it, and sometimes you just want to sit down and do some reading. Okay, so it's important to build our reading skills and find out what we like to read and what we don't like to read. This video is going to go here in a minute. Okay, the assignment today, there's a couple parts. First off, there's a rubric, a marking scheme, and if you click on the drop box, it's actually going to open up into a new tab. I don't know if you can see the new tab at the top here, and in there it actually gives a rubric. Now, a rubric is just a little tick boxes for me to say you did it or you didn't. I always have the level 4s, that's the best, on the far left, so that's what you should be aiming for, okay? And down to R, which means you didn't do it. Okay, 1 means you rarely did it, usually. Sometimes level 2 is sort of the somewhat or sometimes. The level 3s are usually the pretty much that's what the expectations are, and level 4 are above expectations, okay? So we should be always aiming for that. So for this activity, it's going to say always use appropriate words, phrases, and terminology to communicate your meaning. The format saying you thoroughly follow the format, answering the questions posed, including detailed comments beside most categories. I'll remind you about that in a minute. And then there's grammar and spelling and punctuation that's going to show up all the time as well, because it is an English course, okay? So that's a nice thing to see, and I'm going to go back here now. So the survey, sometimes I have it written on the page. Oftentimes I'll give you a little template to make life easier for you, okay? So here's a survey we're going to do, and note there's a second assignment as well. We'll look at that in a second. So I'm going to open the survey in Microsoft Word. It's going to download for me. If you have OpenOffice or something else, that's great, but just make sure you open into some kind of web browser or some sort of editor, okay, that has spell check is the best. Now I'm going to save it right away. I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to make a new folder in my documents, and I'm going to put all my stuff in my new folder. It's going to be OLC4O Work 2013, okay? So I'm going to create that folder. I'm going to go inside. I'm going to go inside that folder. And in fact, in there, I'm going to open up a new folder called Unit 1, just to make myself be a little bit better at organizing things. So inside Unit 1, I've got U1A1 surveys, and I'm going to change that. I'm just going to add in my name here. Okay, so you can put in your name as well. You can leave it as a rich text format, or if you're using Microsoft Word, you better to leave it as a Word document, and it just helps with formatting, okay? So I'm going to hit save. So I've saved before I even started. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the assignment, okay? And note that it says beside each question, not just a yes or no, include a small comment. Make sure you use full sentences so they can stand alone. It's good practice, okay? And at the end, see how it said U1A1 surveys? Chris, I just did that already. I already saved it. Okay. Do I think reading is important? So yes, or I think reading is important for learning new things and to share information with others. Okay, so quick and easy. There we go. Do I think reading is fun? I used to think reading was fun. I enjoy reading with my children. However, I read so much for work, I don't read for fun as much anymore. How's that? Okay. And as we go through, now notice if I had made a spelling mistake because I'm using Microsoft Word, it'll come up with the squiggle red, and I can right-click on it and try and pick the word I think I was trying to say. So it helps me out. So spelling grammar is good so far. All right. And when I'm done this, I'm going to save again. Okay. And I'm going to close it. And when I'm all done, I'm going to upload it to the Dropbox. So I go back to the Dropbox. I'm going to double check. Did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? Yep. Okay, good. I'm going to add a file. And then I got to look for the file, so I click on Upload. I got to search the file. Remember, it was in my documents in a folder called OLC4O Work 2013 under Unit 1. There it is there. So I'm going to upload that. Done. I can put a comment to the teacher if I want to as well. Said that was great. Thanks, Chris. Okay, and I hit submit. After I've done that, you'll notice that an email got sent to you right away. Okay, and the email is just if I click on go to email, it's just a receipt saying that you've submitted it, because some people are like, check, did I really do it? Did I really do it? Yeah, you did. And if you open your email, you'll see it just says that you submitted to the Dropbox and what time you did. Okay, now that alert is gone, and this has gone from being read to unread. I'm going to go back now to, I just had another tab open at the top here where I was. Okay, so I've finished that part, but now I still need to do the discussion. Now in the discussion, it's going to give you a little walkthrough here if you want to watch the video on how to do the discussion. Okay, I'm going to do it right from, I've already done some of it already, so I'm just going to redo it here. Before you get into answering questions, introduce yourself. So it says introduce yourself, and then you're going to answer these questions, okay? So note that I'm not evaluating every discussion posting, but you are going to have to provide a document with your best postings and why, and the best 2 postings of classmates and why, so keep that in mind as you read discussions. Maybe you want to jot down, oh, I liked Brock's one, or Johnny's one, or whatever, okay? And I will be looking through them. So to enter the discussion, what I did first was, I think it's easier to do it in Microsoft Word first, because it helps me with spelling and grammar. Okay, so I just pasted in here what I was looking at to remind me what the questions were, and then I went through. I get to introduce myself. Here I did introduce myself, and I said, do I like to read, and why or not? And then I talked about that. What types of text do I read most often? Okay, so then here it is here. What's my least favorite type of reading? There we go, and then I had a little conclusion. Okay, and notice, wait, I made some spelling and grammar paperwork, so I'm going to right click and say, okay, now that should have been paperwork. I'm having to start wearing my glasses more. It sounds right to me. I'm going to right click. It says I have. Yeah, I have to. Yeah, that's probably better. I have to start wearing my glasses more often. Sounds better. And then reading the newspapers when I can. I think that should be a period or a semicolon. I'm going to right click. Yeah, it wants me to do a semicolon. So that looks a little bit better. So I'm just going to highlight all that. I'm going to right click and hit copy. Now note, sometimes in Firefox it doesn't like doing copy and paste by right clicking, so you can hit Control C to copy and then Control V to paste. So I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to go to the discussion, and in the discussion I'll be the first one there. Okay, it reminds me what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm going to compose a new discussion message, and a new little thing pops up, and this one says subject is hello from Chris. How's that? Okay, I'm going to paste into here by right-clicking and pasting. If it doesn't let me do that, that's okay. I'm going to use hold the Control button down, hit V, and that pastes for me. I don't need any attachments. I'm not going to add a file. I don't want to do it that way. It's easier if it reads right inside here. Okay, and then way down at the bottom here, it'll say Post. And now you see there's some postings. One thing, if you haven't done that before, I think you should change your settings so that, see where it says, somewhere it says the preview pane, make sure that's unchecked, because it's a pain if you have it split screen, so I wouldn't do that. Alright, so if you haven't unchecked it, make sure you uncheck it. And that looks good. So then I'm going to go back to Activity 1 again. I have a little tab at the top here. So I've done that. I've done the discussion. I've done the Dropbox. I'm pretty happy. I'm going to go back under this breadcrumb to Unit 1, Activity 1. And as a student now, I'm pretty happy I've done that, so I'm going to tick that off. 1 out of 7 done, and I know what I'm doing. I can move on, okay, to the next activity, and away we go. The very last thing is, if you click back on Course Home, after the teacher marks it, you'll see an update here where it says 1 Dropbox with unread feedback. If you click on that, there'll be some feedback from me, sometimes the video, sometimes just me handwriting on your assignment to give you a bit of feedback. So just watch out for those, they're really important.